Hello and welcome back to Our Twisted Kitchen. This is the very last episode of this mini-series where we've been highlighting vegan/plant-based journeys, and today I am joined by my best friend, Vinny, who has been kind of going back and forth between veganism, vegetarianism, and eating meat. So he's here today to talk about his Flexitarian lifestyle, and I'm interested to find out more about how this works for you. And welcome to the show, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jay.
I don't miss that at all. Yikes. I have a few questions for you because I want people to understand what it's like to have to change your diet and your lifestyle as you travel the world. So my first question for you is, how does your body respond when you transition from vegan to vegetarian to eating meat and back and forth? Like, is there a difference there, or is it like, do you notice anything?
That's a good question. I do have to say, depending on where I'm coming from, there is definitely a difference. When I went to Iraq this past month, I was transitioning from complete vegan diet to eating meat.
Oh wow.
And I tried to prep myself like a week before I left. I was trying to engage myself with dairies and a little bit of meat, but I just had no idea what to expect going in. So I went in and I had to eat what was in front of me, and I had meat, and don't know what kind of meat. They call it just meat there. And to say that that was a smooth transition, that would be a lie. So
yeah, I was wondering because recently I had a situation happen where I had some fried potato wedges or something from the store, thinking they'd be fine, right? Like at the most it would be contaminated because they might fry the chicken in the same oil or something. But I ate those and I threw up. So going from veganism to straight up just eating meat. If you want to give the details, you can. You don't have to. But how did your body respond to that?
Yeah, lots of stomach issues going on. I was able to get over it within 3 days. I had been taking probiotics leading up to the trip, so I think that helped a lot.
That's tough. I commend you for everything that you do. You put yourself through hell, literally. Not only with the situations that you're going into because you have no idea what to expect, right? But also, completely just changing everything about what you're used to doing.
Right.
It's really interesting to watch you go through all this. So, thank you for sharing that. So, in general, when people transition from eating meat to going to vegetarianism to transitioning to veganism, there's always that one thing that it's really hard for them to let go. And I'm wondering for you, one, what's the hardest to let go from being vegan to eating meat and vice versa?
Yeah. So I would say the hardest thing is from going from vegan to eating meat is knowing this scientific facts about eating meat and going from the healthy plant-based diet that I was on to mentally getting in that right place to where I can be like, okay, I can eat this. Because I remember sitting there with this meat on my plate and mentally I could not do it, but I physically had to force my mind to cooperate with my body to eat what was in front of me.
I'd imagine that's some kind of I don't know if a wake-up call is the right word, but that's just it's an interesting perspective. There's not many people, because from the vegan community, most people don't go back to eating meat, right? So it's hearing that perspective of okay, I don't have a choice. I eat this or I don't get anything to eat, right? So it's really intriguing to hear that, and hopefully it's not too difficult for you in the future. Keep doing this, because I would think at some point your body would just kind of bounce back and forth more easily, maybe? I don't know. And then as far as going from eating meat to going back to veganism, what's the most difficult part of that?
I would say not so much not so much mentally because it's what I want to do.
Right.
It's either a plant-based diet or a vegan diet, but now just physically and, just, it's like starting from
From ground zero.
ground zero and kind of just building back up that momentum. I guess. Right.
So I'm interested to hear this because many people, when if I were to go to someone and say, hey, you should try veganism, they'd be like, oh, but cheese, right? That's everyone's thing.
Right.
So I'm wondering, is cheese hard to stop eating after you've been eating it?
It was in the beginning, like when I first went to vegan diet, but I feel like there's no food that I have to have,
Yeah.
And I want to eat vegan, I have no desire to eat dairy and meats,
Right.
but now it's just trying to build that foundation again where okay, where do I start?
Man, you could be a vegan coach and just teach people hey, listen, I've been at ground zero many times. I know how it feels. Yeah, that's tough, man. I give you a lot of credit for that. I think you've kind of answered this, but just to put it out there, I guess. If you were not traveling the world, if you could do what you love and not travel the world, what kind of a lifestyle would you follow?
Oh yeah, definitely plant-based, I think.
And why?
Again, I just feel better emotionally, physically, mentally, just all the way around. Just for me personally, it just really was helping me.
Yeah, I mean, that's really that's a lot of people's reason for even getting into it and thinking about it, right? It's their health, overall health. And I think a lot of times when we think of oh, I'm going to transition to a vegan diet, it's because I want my physical health to be good, right? But then over time you realize they're all connected. So your physical health plays into your mental health, plays into your emotional health, it's all one thing. So yeah, it definitely is something I don't think, personally I didn't think about when I first transitioned to veganism. I was I don't want diabetes.
Right.
I could probably still get it as a vegan because there's a bunch of junk food out there. But either way, it's just knowing that all of that stuff plays into it is really interesting. So the last question, and it's not really a question, it's kind of more of a statement. I would like you, if you could, briefly summarize what it is you do that allows you to travel the world and how other people can actually get involved in what you do.
Yeah, so I started Impact about 7 years ago, so it wasn't always traveling the world, but it started as a local community thing here in Michigan and reaching out to communities in need and anywhere from food pantries to sidewalk youth programs and character education building and really just going from neighborhood to neighborhood. And what I focused on was going door to door asking, what is your need, and then filling that need to the best of my ability. And then after that, I started to do a little bit more nationwide things and then moved to Mexico and did the youth programs there and then eventually Iraq and then this year with a few other nations in mind to go to and just spreading community and unity through it all and how we can bring people together. I believe that every city has a heartbeat or a flow to it, and so when you go to a city, just find out what kind of flow there is in that city and just kind of see what they need. They might need a farm, they might need musical instruments. If you would like to support Impact, you can get involved with our youth programs in the neighborhoods right now or going door to door because of the circumstances and building relationships that way with families and finding out needs of families and coming together as a community to provide for one another, or if you would like to get involved anywhere really, not just Impact, but there's so much need all over just this city alone and all over the world alone. I encourage you though to get involved with a local nonprofit and where you know where your money is going to and going back into the community that you live in. And here at Impact we believe in a community, not competition between one another, but coming together as one for the greater good and building a real community.
I appreciate you. I just want to say that. I just really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
If you want to get involved in Impact, go ahead and check out the description below. There will be links down there for you to donate or to get involved somehow. So if that is something that interests you, just check out the description and get in touch with Vinny here. I will also put his information in the description below as well. So thank you so much for joining us this week on Our Twisted Kitchen, and thank you for joining us in this mini-series of the vegan/plant-based journeys. If this was something that you really enjoyed, please let me know in the comments below and I can continue doing things like this in the future. I do think that a lot of people enjoy vlogs and review videos, so I do want to do more of those, but if this is something you guys enjoy, please let me know in the comments below and I will gladly collaborate with more people. So I hope you have a great night and thank you again so much for joining.